This is our October portfolio allocation investment letter for the month October 2023. The Piper wants to get paid. That is the moral of the story here. And we are inching closer and closer and closer to, I don't call it end times, at least fiat end times, fiat currency, fake government currency end times. And government has taken our money and turned it into currency, right? Our money's backed by nothing. Our currency is backed by nothing. The dollar is backed by nothing. All government currency is backed by nothing. All currencies, all government fiat currencies have a 100% failure rate. 100% failure rate. All of human history, 100% failure rate. So what makes us think the US dollar is going to be any different? This is the life cycles. This is the hubris that empires go through, the hubris that they consistently fall into and then collapse in on themselves. And we're living it out in real time. So we have to invest according to what is going on. Period. That is the only thing we can do. And cognitive dissonance is very, very, we're very susceptible. All of us are very susceptible to it, right? The log in our eye, we don't tend to see it, but we see the splinter in someone else's eye. So I'm going to read through the blog that I just put out, our investment portfolio allocation letter for October. You can go to the description, go to the Substack link in there, and you can see the written version. You're going to want to see it because there's a lot of charts in here too. There's a lot of stuff that basically lays out the case. I wrote less this month than I really ever have because the pictures tell the story, and you really don't need to know much else. And at the end of the day, if we just put on our own mask, if we just worried about our own four walls and the roof we are living under and our family, our children, the people around us, I do truly believe that life would be a much better place. All these wars going on, they might all melt away if we're focusing on what's important. The people that need our attention, that need our love right here in front of us, instead of worrying about what's on Instagram, worrying about what's on TikTok, worrying about what's on Snapchat, worrying about what's on Yahoo News, worrying about what's on Google, Facebook, Instagram, etc. This is the plight we are going through. The plight of fatherlessness, the plight of globalists trying to take over the world, lowering testosterone, raising estrogen, you name it. We're in a massive war. Physical kinetic wars. We're in misinformation wars, cultural wars, bio wars. We are in the thick of it. You might not like war, but war likes you on every single level. So let's dive into this, because this is very real, and we are here to seek truth. We don't know what is what. We have to continually seek truth to better understand where we are going, what we are doing, and not be the victims. Again, someone who was played victim when I was young growing up, and it stalled my hockey career out. I got to some of the highest levels, but still stalled my career out very much, and I kept myself from my growth, things I could have done, things I could have went to, or whatever, different talents I could have brought out of myself, because I was playing victim too much, and it's someone else's fault, and they should have done this, they should have done that, I'm entitled to this, I'm entitled to that. So let's dive into this and put this together here. We are going to call this, pictures are worth thousands of words. And again, go to the blog to see the actual pictures here. You're not going to want to miss these. I'm not going to do much talking here. There's no need, as we have written about these things for months and for years. Be prepared and get your mind, body, and soul right. The Piper is getting closer and louder, and he wants to be paid. These charts show the inverted yield curve. They show mortgage rates going through the roof. They show interest rates going through the roof. They show federal tax receipts going way down, which is how the government, which does tons of the spending here in the world, in our country, the tax receipts going down because the market's going down. People aren't paying as much in taxes because the asset prices are down. It shows record high bankruptcy filings, the biggest since the 2020 COVID pandemic, and then also on par with the 2008 Great Recession. And then I show our portfolio allocation, and it hasn't changed much in the past month. Slow and steady. Investing is a plan. It's a plan more than it is crazy high-flying fun moves. And again, we are about 20% in real estate, rental real estate. We're about 12% into business. We're about 13% in cash, 3% into stocks, paper, all paper. No 401ks, no 529s. I want control. 16% in commodities, and 36% in Bitcoin currently in cold storage. So 37% in cold storage. So that's our portfolio allocation right now. 36% in Bitcoin last month, 37% this month. I've made Bitcoin, not crypto. I made a couple extra buys this past couple weeks above and beyond my dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. The best savings tool we have, Bitcoin is up 65% this year. Inflation will continue to rise long term as we just hit 33.5 trillion in debt this week. When I wrote this a month ago, it was 33. It would just hit 33 trillion. Well, we just hit 33.5 trillion about 3 or 4 weeks later. Mind blowing. And just for perspective, I think it took 200 years just to get to 500 billion in general. We just did it in like 3 weeks. If you're holding dollars, you will have to continually find more and more dollars to pay for normal, everyday things. Bitcoin will continue going up in value forever because fiat will continue to lose value forever. We have about 37% in Bitcoin, like I said. And I expected this to become the majority of my portfolio going forward. As fiat loses value, Bitcoin will continue rising and take over everything. Real estate, positive cash flow, rental real estate. Getting the property we had last month cleaned up in we're getting it cleaned up currently as the resident left the place a mess. So we talked about last month, we had a resident that was going to leave. They said they were leaving and they were trying to, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy with that. And they already broken a bunch of stuff in our brand new house that we literally just redid top to bottom, put 70 grand into 2 years ago. Well, here they are breaking things and then threatening us. Welcome to real estate. So if you see why you might want to put more and more into digital pristine real estate, now you can see where I'm going with this and why my mind has turned a lot over the last 2 years, 3 years. Such situations highlight the importance, though, of financial preparedness for unexpected changes. And again, I look to the diversification of assets to weather the storm and why this letter is focused on highlighting that on a monthly basis. We have about 20% in rental real estate right now. Commodities. So gold and silver, oil wells, copper, wheat, etc. Commodity investments remain unchanged, but I'm still contemplating selling some assets here to diversify further, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Still nothing on the private placement front. I will be buying some more art, though, Bitcoin trading cards, though in the meantime to diversify more and sell my fiat. Get rid of fiat and hedge with other hard assets. We have about 16% in commodities, physical gold and silver, art, etc. Paper stocks. Still vetting this strategy, and not much has changed here yet. As I was in LA 2 weeks ago for a Bitcoin conference at Pacific Bitcoin and installed out some of my due diligence, as you might imagine. This is from the September letter, though. Maybe adding to this bucket soon here for dividends to pay for a liability instead of just paying cash for the liability and losing that cash forever. So maybe purchasing a car but using some of that cash to go get some dividend-paying stocks or something to that effect, where it can pay the asset or the liability, or the asset, can pay for the liability. So again, might buy a bunch of puts so I can get into the market and gain some cash flow off the premiums, and that way I can buy at a lower cost basis the actual stock. We have about 2-3% in paper currently. Cash in businesses, the last section here, is a huge win this week, as the taxes I thought I was talked about last month I was going to have to pay were cut by a third when they actually came back in. So that's a huge win. Going to be used some of that cash to deploy into Bitcoin and some of the new Bitcoin trading card lines that we have coming out, like I said. And it's one of the businesses that I help and do the marketing for, and just help them with that and write the backs of the cards. Education, sound money education, financial literacy, art for your dirty fiat that just so happens to educate the masses. Cash on hand is also good in case our long-term view of inflation is wrong. If we experience massive deflation, the dollar increasing in strength, the DXY, then we'll be able to use the dry powder, the cash, to buy many more assets. We have about 25% total in cash. And again, I have a chart here that you can see all these charts, a bunch of charts here. The real inflation is at 13-ish% if you calculate it from 1980 standards. 13%, not 3%, 13%. That's if we calculate using the actual standards we used 40 years ago. Not all the hedonic adjustments and all the ridiculous stuff that we do on the games we play now. Now remember, the case for chaos and recession has been laid out above. I have heard this song and dance before, though, so be careful. My advice to what has helped me sleep well at night is to prepare. The number one survival skill of any person is building a network. Build community locally. Ranchers, farmers, sheriffs, neighbors, etc. Get some food and water, some guns, security, and some energy sources. Be prepared for man-made or natural disasters. You will not regret that. If you never have to use it, then great. But if you do, then you'll be able to assist others instead of being part of the chaos. We can all sense bad things are coming down the pike. Use your intuition as your guide. Your gut instinct is there for a reason. Don't ignore it. Our thoughts, our prayers are those in Israel who were brutally attacked last week, and those innocent people being slaughtered, being thrust into another senseless war. Stay strong. Appreciate you. Please share this out, because the algorithm hates truth. Question everything in boldness, even the existence of God himself. Trust but verify. This is not financial advice, it's freedom advice, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.